Hello, hello, welcome to today's workout. So today is a C workout of the ABCs of fitness, and that means it is a core and cardio workout. So be prepared to get a bit of a sweat on, get the body really moving, raise that heart rate, challenge our heart and lungs, improve our cardio fitness, and feel the abdominals and core working as well. In terms of equipment, what you need today are some dumbbells, and it might be that you have heavier and lighter versions of dumbbells, and you can grab out your options and then just adjust according to how you're finding the exercise. You could always use a household item such as a water bottle. Okay, there isn't a set warm-up for the core and cardio workout. As you start the workout, just ease into the first few exercises. Just go gently, gradually moving the body, and then as you start to build heat and everything starts to feel a little bit more supple and malleable, then gently increase your pace. Okay, so in terms of the structure of the workout today, we have 4 circuits, 4 little mini circuits. Each circuit has 3 exercises within it, and each we're going to try and repeat twice through. So then it's nice and segmented up and chunked up, and it'll be whizzed through and it'll be over before you know it. We're working to a count of 40 seconds on and then 10 seconds rest. And I'm just getting the timer started down here, so it will tick us into the workout. We'll listen to the buzzer. It will tell us when we're halfway through each exercise, and it will count us into the next exercise. Okay, so we need potentially using a dumbbell for your first exercise here. You remember, if you have lighter dumbbells, you can hold it crisscrossed, 2 dumbbells in one hand, in the hands together. Okay, movement looks like this: a squat and up and away, squat, up and away, a bit like sort of throwing a discus or something like that. Please remember to ease gently into the workout today, so work with control. Good. And now sit back in your squat, and it's as if you're throwing something up and over the shoulder. A little bit of a pivot on the toe. Core draws in, abdominals draw in, zipping up the core.
10 seconds.
As the momentum of the dumbbells goes up and over to that side. Nearly there, this one. Good.
Rest.
Nice. So again, you could be holding crisscrossed 2 dumbbells together. Depends on the size of your dumbbells. You could be holding 1 dumbbell side to side or end to end. So other side, same thing. Up and away. A squat down and back. Sitting bottom backwards slightly. Up and away. It's a sort of throwing type motion. In your squat there, gluing all 4 corners of your feet into the floor.
Halfway there.
And a sort of pivot of the toe and of the hip, absorbing the momentum so you don't actually end up leaning backward. Core drawing in to absorb that momentum. Well done, you. Nearly there. This side. Brilliant.
Rest.
And resting. Dumbbells down on the next one, unless your dumbbells are very, very light. We're going for a ski erg. Looks like this.
Let's go.
Arms up and overhead, tiptoes if you can, pull it down. Up and overhead, pull it down. Like a really exaggerated movement pattern of skiing, poling with your ski poles. Up and overhead, pulling down. As you pull down,
Halfway there.
the rib cage just tucks toward the hip bones, so you have a standing abdominal crunch going on. Again, just tiptoes if you can at the top, reaching tall, stretching the abdominals up as you reach upward, and then a purposeful pull down, and resting. So heart rate should most definitely be up. A second here, catch the breath, we're back to move 1.
Let's go.
So 1 dumbbell or 2, depending on what weights you have, how it feels holding the weights. A squat, and then an up and away. Good. So we propel it up and away, ending up on that sort of nice diagonal line from the foot down there to the hands up here. And then we don't want to be dragged around. So at that point, you're really anchoring your tummy muscles to absorb the momentum. So you're tall and straight at the top. Well done. Superb. Same on the other side. So as you propel up there, you really draw in here, you anchor in those abdominals to provide you with a little bit of support. Good job. You'll probably have one side that feels more natural than the other side, which is why we practice on both sides, so you get to practice the non-dominant side, the movement pattern, and strengthen it and make it feel a little more natural over time. A squat, try to squat your bottom backward as centrally as can be. We're not overly heavy with the squat, just the body weight plus the little dumbbell if you are using.
Rest.
Good job. Weight comes down unless you have very light weights here. Up and overhead, bringing it down, that ski-erg movement pattern. So tiptoes if you can, crunch it down. We come down into a squat. We're pulling down as if we really truly have something heavy up and overhead here. And we want to think about the rib cages crunching or contracting toward the hip bones.
Halfway there.
As we're up and overhead, reaching tall for a stretch of the abdominals. And in your squat here,
10 seconds.
nice and square on with your toes and your knees to the front. Nearly through, full of purpose on the top down.
Rest.
And recover. Fantastic. So cardio should be very apparent. On the next countdown timer, we're resting.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're not going anywhere. Just catching your breath, having a sip of water perhaps, letting that heart rate come down. Okay, so in that previous move, that ski-erg move, we were working on drawing the rib cage to the hip bones here, and we're going to use that concept in a crunch shape next. We are going for, I'll just wait for the beeps, hang on.
Rest.
We're going all the way down to the mat, we're going for a butterfly sit-up. Butterfly sit-up, the knees are flopped open in a diamond shape, soles of the feet together.
Let's go.
We're going to use the arms to sort of help us come all the way up. If you can, touching the floor in front of your feet. Think about the rib cage tucking toward the hip bones and unravel down the spine with a bit of control. Now, if you cannot get all the way up, please don't worry, just come up into a crunch like this. So your hands don't need to touch the floor in front of you. It could be a crunch. If you've got enough momentum, you might be able to come into a full sit-up. We really want to squeeze to shorten the abdominals in order to come all the way up and work with a really rounded back. Well done. So in this one, we're very much thinking about a roundy back, like a C-shaped spine. We're still thinking about hips to ribs. We're coming into plank. It could be plank on hands, it could be plank on forearms. The full version of the move is jump wide, jump narrow, jump wide, jump back. Out, together, wide, back. It could be that you walk up and walk back. You walk or you jump. You could be practicing holding a plank on your knees,
Halfway there.
or a plank on your forearms. So if the moving plank is not available to you and you are just working on core connection and maintaining a plank shape, that could be for you today. If you're with me, it's either walking or jumping, feet up and back.
Rest.
Nice. So again there, the cardio, very clear. And shoulder work as you support your body weight. From here, plank again. Core secure, opposite knee to opposite elbow, marching twist. So we're not running, we're marching. Again, it could be that you're just working on holding a plank and getting good core connection. It could be that you're down in a half plank and getting good core connection. If you're with me and you're in the full version, we are trying to squeeze opposite hip bone over and across to opposite rib cage.
10 seconds.
And zipping up the midline of the core as if to scoop the midline of your abs towards your spine. Well done, you. Brilliant. Down we come. Same trio once more. So it's our butterfly sit-up, could be a crunch.
Let's go.
Feet are up together. The knees are in that diamond shape. And we're trying to really round your back to get all the way up the spinal column. And then as you unravel down, a sensation of putting on the brakes with your abs. So your abdominal muscles are the brakes here. And you want to decelerate or work against gravity to lower with a little bit of control down your spinal column. Please remember the option of just a crunch is there rather than a full sit-up. Brilliant. Done. Super job. From here, we're rolling or pushing your way up and flipping around to those two plank-shaped move.
Let's go.
Okay. Spread the load through all your finger pads in your plank. We are either jumping, feet toward hands on the outside, or we're walking it in, walking it back, marching it in, marching it back. So whichever option that you're taking, if you're on the move, your body weight, your centre of gravity stays forward with your shoulders, and you're trying to do your best as you can not to let the hips sink or sag. We want hip bones just above the level of your belly button, with your abdominals anchored up. Could be marching, could be jumping. Well done. Fantastic. Off the shoulders and off the wrists for a second. If you don't like being on your wrists, you can always be on fists or dumbbells.
Let's go.
We've got a plank again, and we are twisting in a marching twist here. Opposite knee to opposite elbow. Thinking about squeezing the opposite hip bone over and across to the opposite rib cage. With the abdominals in the midline zipped up. Zipping up from pubic bone to belly button, anchoring upward your lower abs. Lots of twist is what we're after. Please remember plank hold
10 seconds.
on the knees or on the toes is always available as an option. Twisting if you can, lots of rotation.
Rest.
And down you come, good job. So catching the breath just here. A wriggle of the wrists, off the shoulders.
Let's go.
So we are resting during this next countdown period. Chance for a sip of water perhaps, and just letting that heart rate come down. So halfway point to the workout, 2 circuits done, 2 to go.
Halfway there.
Okay, so our next little trio of exercises, we're back to using some dumbbells. Please remember this could just be a water bottle, for example. We're going to start in a half kneeling shape, which is this. Knees at 90 degrees, one is in front of the other.
Rest.
Okay, so we're in that shape. And we're going to chop from high to low, like a chopping wood, an axe chop. Up above one shoulder, up above the shoulder of the front knee. You can hold 2 dumbbells together, or you could hold one weight end to end. And we are chopping with some oomph here. We want to give it some, as if we are chopping wood with an axe. From the opposite shoulder down to the opposite hip bone, in a diagonal motion across the body. And the point here is not to be drawn round. So the momentum and the weight and the pace of your chop wants to draw you round, and you're going to use your core strength and stability to stay as square to the front as possible. Good job. Slip swapping, other leg forward. Just check your leg is out at hip width. You're not on a tight rope. Stability when you're out at hip width. Above the shoulder, chop. To the opposite hip, chop. So giving it a bit of short, sharp, like a short, sharp, powerful blast before retracting up again. Powerful blast down. Giving it some oomph basically. As you chop down, really anchor inward your core. So you're trying to zip up the midline of core. You're trying to sort of wrap your 2 sides of your rib cage to the midline of your abs.
10 seconds.
You're doing everything you can to stay square to the front and level with the ground. and not be drawn round. Well done.
Rest.
Perfect. And of course, the heavier weight you use there, the more that your core muscles have got to produce the equal and opposite force, so they'll be working harder if you have a heavier weight. Next move, we're still in our tall kneeling. Hinge forward slightly, not rounding the back. A sensation of a long, strong, straight spine. And then we're doing a forward raise in front of us here. So here we are, loading, so challenging the muscles of the lower back and core. Remember, your lower back is part of your core, the back of your core. So just showing you again, we've taken a hinge. So we haven't rounded the back. And then we ease the weight up in front to shoulder height with core secure in front of you. Brilliant. And again, the heavier the weight, and it could be that you have two weights, one in each hand as you do that. The heavier the weight, the tougher it is.
Let's go.
Okay, back to our chop. Opposite foot forward, up on the shoulder, down to the opposite hip. So puffing out as you chop down. And just like in Pilates, when you do your puff out, it's your cue to pull core in, to tauten up the tummy muscles. You can think zip up from pubic bone to belly button. You can think wrap the two sides of your abs toward the midline. You can think flatten your tummy toward your spine. Trying to stay square on even though the weight wants to pull us round. Fab job. A shake through, a swip swap. Strong in the front leg, broad in the chest. Hands up above the shoulder. And your chop. And again, really going for it. Like you would if you were chopping wood. In order to break that wood, you would have to give it some real force. The stronger the force, the greater the sort of momentum that's trying to pull you around, the more your abdominal muscles have to work to keep you square on. They've got to provide the equal and opposite force in order to not be drawn round, in order to provide core stability.
10 seconds.
The heavier the weight you use and the faster the chop you do, the tougher the exercise will be. Core draws in consciously as you chop down. Nice. Ooh, lovely job. So you could be one dumbbell end to end. You could be two dumbbells, one in each hand. Broad chest, zip up deep core, hinge, a long spinal shape. And then without rounding your back, an elevation, a shoulder raise, elevating the arms in front of you to shoulder height.
Halfway there.
As you do this, and as you raise the weight in front of you, you want to tauten in, to anchor in the tummy muscles.
10 seconds.
To provide support for your lower back. Now the lower back is loaded in a hinge shape, and the heavier your weight, the more your lower back will work.
Rest.
Nice, down we come. And so working on lower back, knowing that it is part of our core, and we want it to be strong as well.
Let's go.
Okay, so we're resting. We've done that circuit twice through. Last circuit coming up. You're 3/4 there, doing really well. We are staying down at mat level, and we are starting in a crunch shape. We're going to go down, lay on down all the way along your back.
Halfway
And we
there.
want wide-ish knees here, quite wide footing, quite wide knees. As we do our crunch here, we want to imagine the body is going up the middle of the gap between our knees. So think body up the middle. It's that sensation again of the rib cage to the hip bone, the same rib cage to the same hip bone. We're not going diagonal, so rib cage to hip bone in this crunch. Wide knees. Our arm is going to chop across the opposite thigh.
Let's go.
So it's a crunch, body comes up the middle, arm across opposite thigh. Alternate the arms as you go. Puffing out as you crunch up. And a squeeze of your abdominals. Think of the rib cage coming toward the hip bones. Zipping up the core. So zip up from pubic bone to belly button. Anchor in the lower abs as you crunch up. And keep thinking, your body goes up the middle. The arm sort of compresses across. but you're not going to be drawn round by your arm. You keep going up the middle. Super job. Nice. We're staying down at mat level. We have ab bike coming up. We want lots of rotation.
Let's go.
Okay, so full version of the move is like so, where you clap behind the leg and you are twisting opposite shoulder to opposite knee. If you need a regression, it's one side and down, the other side and down. So this is the regressed version, coming down each time. Full version, you're working the legs simultaneously. And what we want to achieve here is lots of twisting. Opposite rib cage to opposite hip bone, opposite shoulder to opposite knee, yet that midline of your abdominals is zipping in, anchoring in the core as you go.
Rest.
Okay, well done. And so those are always quite burny because we're calling upon the abdominals to hold their contraction for a long time.
Let's go.
Okay, onwards we move. We're going for a full sit-up and a controlled roll down. Now that is quite tough. If you have a sofa, you can hook your feet under a sofa or something similar. If you have a dumbbell, actually holding your dumbbells can help you get all the way up because it draws your centre of gravity forward. If the full sit-up is not available, just go with a crunch, where you just come up as far as you can. Exhaling on the way up. Well done, you. Brilliant. And we find our way back to the start of this trio. So we have the wide-ish knees.
Let's go.
The body going up the middle, the arm chopping across. So the arm is like a sort of slow motion karate chop, squeezing over and across in a diagonal trajectory. Our hand chops across opposite thigh, yet you're trying to get your body to come up the middle of the gap between the knees. So body up the middle, arm chops across. Exhaling as you squeeze up, and you're trying not to be drawn around by your arm. So the arm wants to pull you to the side, you're trying to stay going straight up the middle. It's quite tough. Fab job. So we had anti-rotational core there. The arm was trying to make us twist, we were trying to limit the twisting.
Let's go.
We have ab bike coming up. We are definitely trying to create a lot of twist here, a lot of rotation. We could be doing both legs simultaneously. You could be doing opposite elbow to opposite knee and down, other elbow to other knee and down. So you could work the legs independently, one at a time, or consistently moving those legs. Now the legs come in a way like pistons, rather than a roundy pedaling motion. Think of opposite rib cage to opposite hip bone in the abdominal section of your body. Zipping up core, nearly there. Oh. So I'm hoping you're feeling the abdominals are really working there. I certainly am. Well done. We're final move. So it's full sit-up, controlled roll down. If full sit-up is not available to you, just go with a crunch to there and down, so just to where you can. Having a dumbbell in your hands can help you come to the top of your sit-up. You can really sort of encourage the weight forwards to help shift your centre of gravity forward, to help pull you up. Nice and tall at the top. And the idea is unravel down the spine with a really rounded back. Vertebra by vertebra, keeping your rib cage tucked into the front pockets of your body. Nice job, you. Dumbbell comes down and rest. We are there. You've made it. So from here, just a little bit of a stretch of the abdominals. You've done all the hard work. It's just a little bit of looking after the body at the end for the last moment here. Lay on down along the mat. And the idea of sort of pointy toes all the way through to hands reaching overhead. And this sensation of sucking in your tummy muscles and expanding out your rib cage to feel that little bit of a stretch in the abdominals. Well done.
Couple of breaths there. A lovely long line of stretch through the body. So it's not a passive shape this, it's a real nice stretch overhead all the way through to long, long, long through your toes. Okay, from here, scoop in the knees, one knee and then the other, but ultimately you end up with both knees in a knee to chest hug. And you could do a little bit of a rock side to side. Well done. And then we're going to do a little rock forward and backward. You can have the hands behind the back of the knee, on the thighs, maybe on the front of the shin. And the idea is a little rock or roll, you know, like kids do here. The idea is to create a really curvy, roundy, C-shaped spine. Maybe another couple, and eventually bringing yourself all the way up to seated and rest. Well done. So just encouraging that lovely spinal flexion, that rounded back. Really aware that so much of the exercise we do in the lower body or upper body sessions, we ask our back to be long, strong and straight. It's also really important that we're able to have a nice flexion in our spine and the ability to do that. So we worked on that a little bit today. Hopefully you're feeling good for having done that. I'm very proud of you for making it to your mat and giving yourself this time today to work on you, to strengthen, to work on core. Please let me know how you got on, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.